Great. What's up?
Good. There we go. Can you hear me?
I can.
Oh, yeah, sweet. Okay, awesome. But yeah, man, do you have the I should send you the age bracket that we're talking about.
Okay, send it on what's up?
All right.
And I've already got this recording as well.
Okay, sweet. There you go. Have that thing floating about.
I got it.
Yeah, is there a way you can put it on on the screen so that the audience knows what we're talking about?
Yeah, let me see if I can. Just a second. How do you save WhatsApp attachments?
Man, I forgot. Oh, you screenshot it.
Oh
Take a
yeah.
screenshot or save the image as.
Let's see if it worked. I think I could maybe give you permission to share it.
Okay,
Let's see.
I do that.
Let's see. Um, since I'm the
I
host,
presume.
I'll probably have to do it. Can you email me that image because I can't save anything on WhatsApp for some reason.
Okay, can you text me your email on
Yeah.
WhatsApp?
Okay. There it is.
All right. Here we go. Did you get it?
Not yet. Oh, I'm on the wrong email. Let me go over to that one. Yeah, I just got the notification.
Alrighty.
Okay, let me put this on the screen. Okay. Notes.
Oh, for the audience that sees us, it's okay to be Gen Z. We're just, me and Adam, we're just making it clear. It's okay. There's nothing wrong with it.
All right. Oh, I just pin. There we go. No, you don't do that. Mute, stop chat pin. Security. Oh, share screen. Okay. Can you see the whiteboard I'm sharing?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Let's see. I'm gonna end it for a second. And I'm gonna restart it once I have that. Okay, let me start the share again. All right, how's that
There we
look?
go. You may have to zoom in a little bit. Just a little bit.
Okay. Is that working?
Just one more. Just 3 clicks more. There we go. There we go. So there it is. There it is, the age bracket, guys.
All right, we're gonna get started.
Let's start with Lost Generation and work our way down.
All right. Introducing
So,
myself, this is Adam, and I'm Adam, and this is my cousin Derek. We're
what
making
up?
What's up, Derek? We're making a video about all the generations of the world that have existed from the past, and there's ones that are way into the future as well. I noticed that there's generations for people who have not even been born yet.
Mm-hmm.
That's wild.
I know.
All right, let's start with the really old folks.
Lost Generation. Now, these guys knew, and I mean knew, the release of the radio. Like that, you have to understand, guys, that was their console, was the radio. When you really think about it. And this is usually the aftermath of World War One. This is we humans haven't really recorded generations until the beginning of or end of World War One. So, and here it is, Lost Generation. Most of them fought in that war. Most of them, yeah, ate it and breathed it, and that's what they did. And I know no celebrities that were in the Lost Generation. No, I know some that were GI or Greatest Generation, but I don't know any of them alive right now. Well, not alive. Well, were, but let's see. Basically, they were in World War One. But do you know anything about Lost Generation, Adam?
Yeah, so um these people would have saw the inventions of the radio, they would have seen the invention of like motion picture cinema. Um and like you said, some major things that must have disrupted them are the First World War and the Spanish flu. Those things kind of coincided. And yeah, life must have been really different for these folks because they didn't have modern medicine. They didn't have a lot of the luxuries that we had. However, they must have seen that things were changing. They must have seen that like there's a lot of new technologies coming about. So it must have been a cool time to live in. The 1800s, that was really like the start of the Industrial Revolution, and by the time we get to 1900, then things have really started to be put into motion.
Yeah, man. Yeah, now there's the Greatest Generation. You want to move on, Adam, if you're okay with that?
Yeah.
So it's the Greatest Generation. Oh, and fun fact, guys, Stan Lee, the comic book creator, was GI. And there's the current president. Not current, I'm sorry, I'm not wrong. Current alive president, Carter, is actually GI as well.
Yeah, I forgot he was that old. He's in his like late 90s, correct?
He is 99. It will be 100 on October 1st this year, and he is the last wave.
Yeah, so the greatest generation, obviously, they earned their name through living through the Great Depression and the Second World War. I think the key event in all of this is the Great Depression. Wouldn't you agree?
Oh man, yeah, I would agree too. Yeah, some were probably parents at that time. Oh geez.
Yeah, so
Oh,
this is really special because like let's say that these folks are born like in the year 1900, they grow up seeing the First World War, and then they might even end up serving in the Second World War. And so, I mean, being in the greatest generation must have been like super challenging for these folks, because like the world is going crazy.
yeah, man. And did you know, Adam, that President Carter, former President Carter, is GI as much as you are millennial because you're the last wave too, the
That's
millennials.
right. That's right.
And I'm like,
So he must have been so he was born like 22 or 23?
24.
24, all right.
24 was last year.
And the not too many greatest generation people are still with us. I think
Yeah,
our grandma, okay, I don't know if she
she
was
was silent. Actually, she was in 32.
yeah, 32.
She's a silent person.
Yeah, I think our grandfather was greatest generation though. I think he was 1921 if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, he was GI. That's cool.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you think of like culture around this time? Like what would these people have seen going on
Well, I will
around
say
them?
this: thanks to GI and some silent people, because some the guys that lied about their age when they were 17 into the World War, those were silent people, the 17-year-olds. So thanks to silent people and Greatest Generation, we're actually, free. They're the reason why we are free when you really think about it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that although these generations are defined by war, um, there's a lot more to it though. I think that if you think about it, World War One was only a period of like 4 years, and then the Second World War is only 4 more years of conflict, give or take. So there's still a lot of time in between 1900 and 1945 that is not war. So I think the things other than conflict that they're dealing with, obviously they're dealing with the Great Depression. So for a time things were very bad. But before that, it's important to note that like we have this concept of the Roaring Twenties and a lot of new technology coming about and a lot of new cultural like good things happening. We have prohibition, maybe not so great, but I don't think this period is only defined by war. It's also defined by America starting to transform into kind of a fun place to be.
War being fun, I don't know, man.
No, I'm saying aside from the years of conflict, I feel like we kind of come into this like party culture a little bit, and we
Oh yeah, the flappers. Remember that era? The flappers.
that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the interwar period. So, but between the time of World War One and World War Two, when this greatest generation, the silent generation, are living, we have just like a period of good times.
Yeah. Did you know? Our grandma's mom was a flapper.
I
Yeah,
didn't know
man. I
that.
didn't know that. That's what grandma told me.
Kind of
It was a good
reminds me
time. I wasn't
of
there.
our dancing trends a little bit, except maybe it was the first dancing trend.
Yeah, there goes a saying like technology has changed, but people have not.
Yeah, that's true.
Because they danced to that radio, man. That was their thing.
Hmm.
And now we go to Silent Generation. Man, I wish Grandma was here for this. She would school us on this. But yeah, man,
So what do we think about the silent generation, folks?
we should. Oh, I will say this. Like, yeah. So let me see. 1925. Oh, there's a Prohibition era. They were there during that. Date that up.
Yeah, that's an interesting time in our country's history. As you can see, I'm not adhering to prohibition. I'm having a beer. Would not would not have been legal 100 years ago to do this. What I'm doing now.
Yeah,
Prohibition was very much a failed experiment. I mean, it was impossible to enforce, although they tried to.
yeah, man. Like, remember Al Capone? What generation was he? Hold on a second. Stay in. Let's see.
Al Capone was probably lost generation, I imagine.
He was 1899, so you're probably right.
Yeah.
Man, he was the last year too. He was the last wave. And
Yeah, this is
yeah,
kind
man.
of prohibition really is another way that people define this era, like they call it prohibition era. Um, and I don't know a whole lot about prohibition, but I know that like the party culture moved underground and we had these things called speakeasies.
Oh yeah. Remember that in high school? They talked about that.
Yeah. It's kind of wild to think like today when drinking is so it's like such a huge part of American society, how it could all have gone underground, you know? It's wild to think about.
Yeah, man. And now, if you're okay with it, we'll move on to baby boomers. So baby boomers, man, my dad's a boomer. Your dad's a boomer too.
Yeah, my dad was 61. I think your dad was 63 or 60. What was he?
Dad was 63 of February. Fun fact: my dad is as much as a boomer as much as I'm a millennial. Once you factor in Generation X and baby boomer,
That's right. So
like
the
man,
baby boomers, they really do take advantage from a very tremendous period of growth in our country. They managed to have better quality of lives by a long shot um compared to the other generations, wouldn't you say so?
yeah, like in the universities were actually affordable back then.
That's right. College was cheap, although not as many people went. We do start to see a rise in education. I think that before 1945, public schooling was not free, and not many people actually graduated high school or went to college. But then we see 1945 people definitely start getting more than 45 through 65. We see people starting to become more educated.
Man,
Oh, and the boomers, a big part of the boomers is what happens when they get a little older, like 1969. The baby boomers really get involved in hippie culture.
oh wow.
Yeah. That's really important for the boomers, wouldn't you say?
Wait, wait, he's talking about birth years or like when it actually happened?
Well, this
Oh, baby boomers.
generation, yeah, so they are born, so they're coming of age basically in the late 60s and in this time where the country is in like total chaos with the Vietnam War, a lot of protests, but then the ray of sunshine is this really cool hippie movement and a peace movement.
The Beatles. Oh man, if you were there during the Beatles prime, you were probably a boomer.
I would definitely listen to them. I listen to the Beatles even though I'm a millennial. But what do you think of this
Okay.
generation, Derek?
Which one? Generation? Oh, baby
The
boomers.
boomers, the
Dude,
boomers.
they are very useful people in my opinion. Depends on the person, but like they
Yeah.
really like they're very much builders, whatever. I mean, they were building type of people, and
Really innovative, you would say?
yeah, and I think the reason what made them so successful is that they had helicopter parents because their parents fought in World War II. Think about it, like fighting Germans, Italians, and the Japanese left and right. You're bound to be
Yeah.
a helicopter parent. So they were born with helicopter parents, and as a result, some became successful.
What do you
Some of them.
think, besides their parents, do you think that basically the US economy was doing really well these years? Like
Oh
especially
yeah,
45 through 65 and maybe up until kind of starts to go downhill more in the 70s, but the economy's doing really well at this time. So if you were born in 45 and you start to find work, start to get a job around 65, like good things are going for you. Like you're in a era of prosperity. So I think what people talk about a lot is the baby boomers really um they do well because America is doing really well financially and as an economy.
yeah, man. And
What do you think of the hippie culture though?
I'm not against it. It's just their ways of expressing themselves. Like same reason why kids nowadays they play Fortnite, they play their dances. But with the where I draw the line is when they start to hurt them. That's when I'm like, no.
Like
But like,
Charles Manson territory?
oh yeah, definitely. That's when it's like, no, I'm good. Not a good day.
Yeah, so we see a lot of these baby boomers, surprisingly, they start out, they have these intense parents, and some of the baby boomers, they kind of push back against that. They move out of their parents' house, they drop out of college, they drop out of high school, and they go to San Francisco to Haight and Ashbury, and they experiment with a bunch of drugs, and they have these wild and they protest the Vietnam War. A lot of them also, one thing to note is just like the other generations, a lot of the boomer generation served in the military during Vietnam. So that's important
Yeah,
to note. A lot of them chose not to. They chose to burn their draft cards or move to Canada or, end up in jail for refusing the draft. That's important to note.
yeah. Poor people. But what I'm happy about is that like they're still here. I'm happy they're still here.
Yeah, they're getting older, that's for sure.
Hmm. And fun fact, you guys didn't know. Back to you want to skip to the fun part, Generation X, my guy,
Generation
because
X, yeah, let's do it.
yeah, fun fact. Generation X set the standard for the 15-year gap if you actually factor in the math on this strict census, or sorry, age bracket, I would say.
Yeah, I noticed
And
that. I noticed that.
and yeah, man, that's what like people you see. It clutches every 15, like 15, 15, bam, 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 bam.
The others were
But
20.
yeah, boomers were 20, but then it just changed after Generation X became a thing. Generation X, man, they're known to be 80s strong, my guy.
Yeah.
Oh, fun fact, Adam, Darren, you know Uncle Darren? I believe he was born in 65, first month.
So he was just out of the boomer and into Gen X.
Yeah, he identifies as a boomer, but reality is he's an ancient elder Generation X.
Nice, nice.
I know.
Yeah, Darren's
Yeah.
fine. He's let his hair grow out gray. He looks a lot different these days. I don't know when the last time you saw him, but he's getting older and he's looking at retirement soon.
Oh man.
Yeah, he's done really well for himself. Like, you know, He's done really
I
well.
love Uncle Darren.
I mean, who doesn't? What else about Generation X?
Oh, but before we go any further, Darren, I love you. Happy birthday soon. Oh, his birthday is the 21st, Adam.
Let me put that on my calendar. I don't want to forget that.
Yeah.
We're actually celebrating Pam and Darren's birthday on the same day because Pam was traveling when it was her birthday last month.
Man.
But anyway, so I this is the generation I don't know a ton about.
Oh, I'll tell you. Let me tell you, you're talking to the right guy. Well, kind of talking to the right guy. You
Yeah.
see, they were the last key generation. Like they had parents that were working, right?
Hmm.
And they're called the last key generation because a lot of them had a key around their neck, and they would walk to school and back. They were on their own, and a lot of CEOs like Jeff Bezos or like I forgot this other CEO, but a lot of these Generation X people are successful. Not all, but a lot of them are because they were dependent on themselves when they were little. And yeah, like I've talked to Generation X, like people I've met, and they said seatbelts. Yeah, seatbelts, Adam, not a thing. And when they did come out, it was just those crappy little belt ones.
Yeah.
And the law didn't care. Like you had no seatbelts. You're allowed to ride or like go around bunches in the car. It was okay. And the legal drinking age was 18, by the way. But that didn't stop your parents from, purposely giving you some. You know what I mean?
Or it didn't stop them from just finding a way to get it.
Yeah.
I
Oh, and then
remember,
after,
yeah.
good.
I didn't adhere to that strict guideline myself.
That's funny.
I
Man.
feel like politics really started to become really a big deal for young people. Politics was important for the baby boomers, but then we see like political parties really start to form in this era, like in terms of like people supporting their party and not supporting the other one ever, and people becoming really politically active. I think that um so this is like I feel like Nixon had a lot to do with this era, you know. He
Oh, he
kind of
did, didn't
Yeah, he kind of, and not always for most of the time, not for the better. You know. So Nixon was really involved during these 15 years, and then we see the Ford and Carter administrations who are less consequential. Although the last, you know how really kind of bad things were from 78 to 80, Derek?
he? I have no idea. I wasn't there.
Yeah, so I've heard that like from the years of 78-ish, 76-ish to all the way to 80, things were not good in America. Like it was just kind of crappy. The economy was crap, the big cities were full of crime, and it was hard to get gasoline.
Man.
But
Oh, and
what do we
Generation X
know?
people,
Yeah.
you need remembered whenever Kurt Cobain passed away.
Right, right. He was a Gen Xer, right?
He was.
What do we know about these people? Like what are they all about? So they're about self-sufficiency, we know that.
Though I know their high functioning depression usually makes them better workers. Like their work ethic is really, really top notch.
Yeah.
Generation X. Well, that's at least a stereotype, right? Because everyone's different. But like usually they're big, they're really good workers, my guy.
Yeah.
And yeah, Chrissy and Jen,
Yeah.
they're Generation X.
Are they? Wouldn't they
Yeah,
be
Chrissy was the
millennials?
last wave. Chrissy was the last wave since the 79, and Jen was in 77, the Generation X.
Wait,
And let me,
they don't seem that old.
I know, right?
That's wild.
Yeah, man. And I really want to move on to our generation, but still want to talk about Generation X. Like the music was just so great in this era. And the movies were bomb, the cartoons were bomb. From what they've told me and shown me, yeah, man, it was really good.
Yeah.
It was a cultural boon, and I call them the dankest and most hip generation, Generation X.
You start to
First
get
one was the baby boom.
you
First one was the
start
baby boomers, but
yeah.
then they pumped it up a notch. You were saying that?
You start to get more the importance of music really starts to shoot off in this time period. Like this
Yeah,
is the era the this is like the prime era of rock and roll, where rock and roll is the music, you know.
yeah, man. Jeez, makes me want to listen to Nirvana right now.
Do you want to talk about millennials?
Heck yeah, let's do it. What do you have to say about us, man?
Okay. Boy, I think millennials, what if I had to say to define millennials as one thing, it's that we have not had a lot of the advantages that other generations had. For example, like don't necessarily have a great economy. And so the millennial mindset is kind of like overcoming struggles. It's like overcoming financial struggles. It's overcoming like um just a lot of baggage, you know. It's like growing up during a weird time and not really having a lot of direction. Millennials are always like people say, "Oh, well, millennials they never do anything. They waste all their money." But I don't know. The millennials have done a lot of good stuff though. I think we're the first generation who really kind of took technology and kind of made it into everything like our essence. We really started to become like a computer generation, you know? What
Yeah,
do you
remember,
think?
remember the band Daft Punk? That's a millennial band.
Yeah. Yeah. I think we have a switch from like rock and roll is like the music of Gen X, and millennials it would be like EDM and hip hop would be our kind of
Yeah,
music.
yeah,
Yeah.
man.
So what do you think of like the
Oh,
aspect of the struggling millennial?
we forgot to bring up one thing.
Yeah. What is it?
I have to bring this up, Adam. It's what every millennial dealt with.
What?
9/11.
What is it?
9/11.
Yeah,
You have to bring it up.
no one who is Gen Z really remembers 9/11 at all. I was
Unless they're growing with a memory spurt, which some have.
yeah.
Different cases, but it's very, very slow.
Yeah, so I was pretty young when it happened, but I still kind of like I watched it on TV. So I was so yeah, 9/11 comes around and we're kind of beginning our lives in a really weird way with the Iraq and Afghanistan wars
Yeah,
and
let's start the war on terrorism.
the war on terrorism, yeah. And boy, my family supported Bush, but as kind of things he started wrapping up his years in office, um, my family started to not support him as much. I think everyone started to realize everything that had happened was kind of bad and negative, you know.
All right. Oh, we forgot to bring up one thing on Generation X:
What was it?
the war on drugs. What Reagan did.
Yeah, the war on drugs, and it continues to this day. We forgot about that. I think millennials are definitely a pot smoking generation.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, excuse me, I just burped. Just like the baby boomers, I think that pot was a really big important thing for us growing up.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't
definitely.
partake anymore, but I can say that for me it was like a rite of passage and all my friends did it, maybe not all of them, but most of them.
Remember, folks, always smoke responsibly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
don't smoke every day, folks, and don't smoke all day. Shit.
And definitely don't smoke and drive, like I see, please.
No,
So,
no, don't do that. What do you think of the concept of the struggling millennial, the broke millennial, Derek?
oh man, like some can't afford college. have to save so much money just to afford college. And even then, if they can't afford college, they it usually gets too expensive. They run out of money, and they have to get financial aid, and that financial aid they have to pay back and turns into debt. And debt does not escape even after death.
Yeah.
It just doesn't. Then your family has to pay it. It's just a mess. Like I wish we were like Europe or Germany or France or Canada. Canada, yes, Canada, where universities are free, and yet the yeah. I have a lot of foreign friends. This is what they
Fortunately,
say.
some colleges are transitioning to a free model. Portland State University, a lot of students from certain financial backgrounds who don't have a lot of money, they actually get free tuition at Portland State, and I think a lot of colleges will eventually to kind of move towards that.
Hope so.
But you would agree with me that things have been financially tough for millennials.
Yeah, like Jesus Christ. Especially getting a better job. It's been tough.
Well, the jobs don't pay anything.
Yeah, dude.
They just really, I remember I worked a job as recently as 2018. This is 5 years ago, and I was making $11 an hour.
Oh, jeez, what were you?
I was a door-to-door fundraiser. $11 an hour was my base salary.
Man,
And that's tough, man. That's tough.
to get you out of your comfort zone, just knock on people's doors, just jeez.
I wouldn't recommend it. Just say that. I wouldn't recommend it. But anyway, so this recording has 2 minutes left in it because I'm limited to 40 minutes. Are you
Oh,
okay if I
jeez.
yeah, are you okay if I start a new meeting?
Yeah, man, absolutely.
All right. I'm gonna stop the share and I'm gonna stop